welcome to this Mark's Reviews Tutorials video. We've been working on this E61. Unfortunately they are renowned for a tailgate issue. The hinging system in the back of these, they've put the wires actually up through hinges so they disappear, and it's quite complex. You've got two on this side, two on that side. You've got a hinge for the glass and a hinge for the big tailgate. I have already the reversing light, which is this little guy down here, was out on this side, and that was due to a broken wire. What happens, the wires actually overflex and overextend and actually break the wire and come right in half, not just the casing gets split. That is now fixed, and I'll put a link up here to that video, what I did and how I repaired that by splicing that wire. The other issue I have though is the catch here is opening. So I've got another wiring issue here. I've put up a video about that also, where I just put, initially when this was popping open, put up a link here to a video where I just put some WD-40 in there, because there's a lot of water issues is what actually can cause this to pop open. But I'm pretty sure that in my case that's not what's going on, because I've popped this open and checked it all. But have a look in that video about that one. For me, when I'm putting the foot on the brake is when the glass is popping open. Absolute pain. But now initially I thought, you know what, the brakes are down here and the tail lights, so that's a different wiring loom, different situation. But these E61s have a row of LEDs up here, so there is also power. When you put the foot on the brake, that top row of LEDs is lighting up as well, so there is power coming into the glass as well. And what I'm getting is when the brake is applied, power comes to this obviously, and I reckon there's broken wires and they're actually touching, because again, I know that's what happens, that the wires split and then eventually they'll break. So that's what I'm going to look at. I've had a couple of goes at this, and it was probably 7 months that first WD-40 repair worked for when I did it. But now it's happening again. I've done the same repair, cleaned it all up. So it may be the catch, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to find broken wires up top. So this video is about how to get into the wires that run to the glass, and let's get into it. Okay, you know what, to start with, there is nothing like a bit of preventative maintenance. And for this tailgate issue and the breaking and extending wires, there is some preventative maintenance you can do inside here with the iDrive. So what you need to do, I'm assuming I know how to drive your iDrive. The button down here, you press it down, you turn it, and you can click it forward, sideways, and all the rest of it. That's all of the movements. And you've got a menu button, which is like your back button. You press that back, it'll always go back. So I'm just going to keep the camera up here so you don't get dizzy. I'm going to press the button straight down, going into the information, and info sources, settings here, pressing down again. Now this one here, vehicle tires, this is where I want to go. And have a look at this. I've got it all set up in the right spot for you. Door locks, it normally comes across to like light or something like that. And there, your triple turn indication, that's when you just touch it. Sorry, I'm too much detail. Go back here, door locks, and coming down, you've got central locking. This is where you get to set up how you want your central locking to activate. Going up, luggage compartment lid opening, and there we go. This, if you dial that down, you can see you get to determine how far the tailgate goes up when it opens. Couple of things for this: if you've got kids, you can make it so it doesn't go out of their reach, so they can still reach the button to press it to lock it again. This is just if you've got the electronics set, obviously electronic tailgate, but you actually get to set how far the tailgate's going to open. So yeah, two things I can think of. One is if you stick it down a bit, then the kids are going to reach that button a little bit easier to close it again. But also, you get to determine whether those wires go full stretch every time the tailgate opens, goes up and down. So you knock that back a little bit and all of a sudden those wires aren't copying the same tension and going full stress. So there's the preventative maintenance thing. If you've got an electric tailgate, I would definitely come in and knock that down one notch so that the wires are not being fully extended every time the tailgate goes up and down. So the complexity of this tailgate is quite amazing when you start to have a close look and work out what they've had to do to development. The glass hinge here. This is the big metal hinge, and beside it is the wire carrier. This matches the hinge, and the wires go up inside it. Now it's lovely, they've made it disappear, looks good, rather than having a little rubber boot with the wires. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of home do motor mechanics who wish they had have stuck with a little rubber boot going up and down, because this breaking wire thing is quite a pain. So we've got two. They've got so much wires they didn't just put one in, they've got two. And you can also see down here, this is the main hinge for the main gate, and there's another wire carrier beside that. So there's actually wire carrier, hinge, hinge there, and the same there. Hinge, wire carrier, hinge. So there's 4 different looms coming through, 4 different carriers here. Now, with the hinge, the boot lid popping open, which is what I've got, you do have a micro switch here. So there's a switch for the opening and closing of this, right there. Give it a press, and it opens. We've also got a brake light here, so that's what I'm thinking is going on, because mine pops open when I put the foot on the brake always, so I'm thinking there's a joining in the wire. Now, I'm going to have to probably pull both of these open, but it's a very similar procedure to get into the loom. Access on this side is done through the speakers up inside here. You just take the grills off with your fingers, and then there's just a few screws. You don't actually take the speakers out, you take the plate that the speakers are mounted to out. Again, the other video that I showed, the linked at the start where I did the reversing light wire, shows a procedure of how to get those out, and that gets you through to that side of the loom. And this side of the loom, we're actually getting through, we're undoing these covers here. 4, that one's missing, it's joyful. And then this panel here is going to come off, which will, no, sorry, we're going to undo those 4 screws. That panel's not going to come off. What's going to happen is this panel here is going to come off. The spoiler actually slides down and comes out, and that's how we access it and get in to the system in the back. And again, there certainly can be water damage issues in here under this spoiler, so we'll be checking for water damage to make sure that it's not what's causing the problem. And it is a T30 torque screw. Let's see if I can so just do covers off and torque screw out 4 times. Okay, so those 4 screws are out. So now it's supposed to be just a matter of sliding this down. Yep, we get some movement. Down off the rubber. Actually comes down so it clicks. Then we lift this up. So this plug here, we're pressing the button here and then pulling it back. That's one. The ribbon cable here we've always got to be careful of. Let's lift that up. Yep. Give that a squeeze. Yep, that's coming out. That's 2. Yeah, that is just a tight friction fit through there, because that's your washer squirter bottle. So that's not electrical wire, that one. That's the washer squirter. And there we go. Close. We've got good, easy access. This is the bolt hole where the bolt came through. This is the access to the loom here and the loom wires. This side here, for those of you who are working it out, plugged into that LED module at the top. And then this little cover came up. So I'm going to lift that off. It looks like it's one of my things I was a bit suspect on was that there could be moisture inside there, but that's all looking clean in through there. And there's that plug for that, sorry, here is where that ribbon wire plugged in. And that's all looking nice and clean, isn't it? This here is the aerial for your key remote control, key fob remote control unit. So that's how you get inside to that as well. As I said, that's your washer, and this loom here runs up to that. I opened up the module. This is just because I wanted to look for water damage. I'm not recommending you necessarily should do that, but if you want to have a look at what's inside that little module, there it is. It's a circuit board. And again, it's obviously pretty temperature sensitive because it's sitting under a black spoiler right here. This car gets very, very hot in the sun when it's left out. We're in Australia here, so we can get 40-degree days, or days, you know, over 110. But what I was looking for was water damage, and there's no water damage, so that's really good. So they've got that cover over, and then that little black cover, which comes and seals the whole thing as well. So all of those water seals are obviously still working, and there's no damage. There's some more detail on what's going on in here.